Yet another brilliant day with huge smiles. My name is Oraku Benson Pastore, already in front of the lens to give you what continues to transpire around the world. I can confirm to you today happens to be the 23rd of April and the year is 2025, and you are most welcome for the news program at West Nile TV. And as usual, first take a look at the headlines, then I will bounce back to give you the news into details. Coming up in the NILECAST news headlines tonight, Pope Francis' funeral set for Saturday. West Nile RPC held for being poor people. Lastly, Forest Authority warned for illegal eviction in Ajuman district. Details about this in NILECAST news. Let's commence today's news with what's happened outside the continent, with a story that's coming from Europe, more especially in Italy, particularly in Rome. It's all about the death of Pope Francis. Here comes the story. Pope Francis' funeral set for Saturday, that's 26th of April, 2025. The Vatican says the funeral of Pope Francis, whose death is 88, prompted an outpouring of grief among Catholics worldwide, will be held on Saturday, 26th of April 2025. Take a look at the story.
The Vatican says the funeral of Pope Francis, whose death was at the age of 88 years, prompted an outpouring grief among Catholics worldwide, will be held on Saturday. Photos of the late Pope in an open coffin dressed in a red robe with the papal mitre on his head and rosary in his hand have been released. Pope Francis, who spent 5 weeks in the hospital earlier this year, died of cerebral stroke and irreversible heart failure, doctors have said. His successor will be chosen by the papal conclave, a gathering of cardinals younger than 80 years that will convene in 2 weeks. Miguel Cofaro, a 61-year-old devout Catholic from Rome, was at St. Peter's Square with 3 friends on Monday evening. He told Al Jazeera he felt like he lost his grandfather, an honest character who had the people's best interest at heart. Pope Francis took charge of the Vatican, fought corruption, and was more open with information. He felt authentic, his said family, his friends nodding in agreement. Jessica Hernandez, a hotel worker originally from Mexico, said she had spent most of the evening on the phone with her mother back home, describing the mood in St. Peter's Square. The 39-year-old said although she's not particularly religious, she was raised in a Catholic home. The news has been powerful and upsetting shock. Pope Francis succeeded Pope Benedict, who stunned the world on February 11, 2013, when he announced that he no longer had the strength of body and mind to keep up with his obligations. Kashunwat Fancy reporting for West Nile Television NILECAST.
Moving forward, West Nile RPC held for being pro-people during a community dialogue on 22nd of April 2025 at Parombo and the Nyaravuri Angal Town Council, where great leaders of Nebi were engaged. Alfred Jawa compiles the story.
The West Nile Regional Police Commander, Senior Superintendent of Police Latif Zake, has been hailed for being pro-people leaders of Greater Nebi during a community dialogue on 22nd April this year at Parombo, and Nyaravulangal Town Council said during his short time in office, his efforts in combating crimes, including theft and robberies in West Nile region, has been fundamental. Irene Bithola, resident of Nyaravulangal Town Council, noted that for the first time they have seen a senior police officer engaging local communities to find out their problems.
I'm so impressed by this RPC, Latif Zake, because this is a first of its kind in our area. RPC coming to the village, to the community and talking, giving his time to get down to the people and knowing problems of the community. I think this one, any other person can even come together and agree with me that there's never been any RPC coming up to our place like this just to meet the community and knowing their problem.
Dennis Opeo, LC3 chairperson, Paduet Sub-County, equally said the RPC leadership helped to combat recent crimes in the region. He acknowledged the support from various stakeholders, including the press fraternity, for their collaboration in identifying challenges and disseminating timely information.
It is true that this engagement by RPC really, it's for the very first time we are receiving this kind of engagement with the regional police commander office, and more so when I came into office since 2021, we never had this kind of engagement, and we really appreciate our RPC for really coming down to the people so that he can get the real information from the community.
Meanwhile, Collins Asia, Public Relations Officer, West Nile Region, lamented that through teamwork and cooperation marked by discipline, teamwork and hard work among officers, they will deliver timely services to the community.
Kind is very unique. Our new RPC, he wants to reach the people. He wants us to know what kind of people is going to police, and then what policing challenges are there. So what he wants to get from the people, also take some message to the people.
It's worth noting that the current RPC for West Nile Region, SSP Latif Zake, has expressed gratitude for the appointment and acknowledges the guidance and mentorship provided by the local community in the West Nile Region.
I normally go to the sub-counties. I want to feel the ground. I want to see the sub-county. So I've been going at least in 2 sub-counties in each. I select 2 sub-counties, then I get to the district and meet district leaders. Those that are available. I may not be able to see everybody, but at least whoever leaders will be available. It's very much necessary for us to engage.
The RPC has concluded its Greater Nebi tour with Parombo and Yaravur and Altan Council respectively to engage local leaders and community on how to combat crimes in the region. Alfred Jawok, Camila Stansha, West Nile TV, NILECAST.
Crossing to the other side of Ajuman district, Forest Authority in Ajuman district have been warned for illegal eviction in Ajuman district. Honorable Anyama Ben, LC5 chairman Ajuman district, warned the Forest Authority to leave the locals of Laropi to live in the area since the population is high. Take a look at the story.
As a renowned prominent businessman in Ajumani district, identified as Mawa Justin, a proprietor of Bukolik Hotel in Ajumani Town Council, his 3 workers were arrested for illegal construction in Forestry Reserve at Ajumani Central Police Station. Honorable Anyama Ben, the LC5 Ajumani district, rushed the authorities of Ajumani District Forest Reserve and warned the Forestry Authority to leave the locals of Laropi to live in the area since the population is high.
I'm giving this press briefing in regard to the land for forest in town, especially that has affected the generally part of Makolo, part of Chesia. It is true that there was a policy of government by then in 70s, 80s that there should be forest in town. But as the population grows, meaning there must be changes in plan, there must be changes in policy. So this thing happened when I was in the United States of America. But I want to say now I'm around. When I heard about this problem, today I got it in the office, then I called the cow who wrote the letter and the district forest officer and the secretary of production. We have agreed what to do. So I want to give assurance to everyone to stay where you are without fear and favor. Because where there is a population growth, meaning there is change in policy.
Oja Francis, the district forest officer of Adjumani district, said they are only following the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Forest Act, which says the area was gazetted in 1934 and declared by the Ministry of Agriculture, Forest and Cooperatives under Stationary Instrument number 176 of 1998.
That particular parcel of land is the local forest reserve, and our mandate is that that land should be protected from the district council for forestry purposes. The law mandates us to protect it, unless otherwise the status remains a local forest reserve. By law, we shall not tolerate illegalities. We are not saying we are evicting people from this particular piece of land, but we are saying we do not want new developments.
Meanwhile, Anyama added that people should continue with what they are doing on the land. If anything bad happens, he is still in the office of LC5 matters will be solved. The letter from the Chief Administrative Officer of Adjumani clearly indicates that those willing to leave may be allowed to do so peacefully within 60 days without undertaking new development initiatives.
Therefore, I don't want people to be in inconvenience. Let people just do their work as usual, without fear and favor. And I'm still in this office, and so long as I'm in this office, nothing of that kind is going to happen. If there are issues, what will happen is I told them to first register who are seated there. This land is given to them by electric.
Kashundwat Fancy Ozima Alan reporting for West Nile Television NILECAST.
Now moving to the world of sports, I can confirm to you it's also getting tense in Spanish Primera Division, like how it's happening in English Premier League. Games were played yesterday. Of course, just a game played in Spanish Primera Division. Girona, of course, we are at home, and Real Betis was the away team. And Real Betis managed to beat Girona by 3-1. And taking a look at the table standing in Spanish Primera Division right now, on top is still the Catalonian-based club, that's Barcelona, with 73 points, being followed by the Los Blancos, that's Real Madrid, with 69 points. Third on the log is Atletico Madrid, they having 63 points. Fourth on the log is Athletic Club Bilbao, they having 57 points. And Villarreal comes to the fifth position with 52 points. At number 6 is Real Betis with 51. At number 7 is Real Mallorca with something of around 44 points. And the team that completes the European slot competition is the team of Celta Vigo. They sit at number 8 with something of around 43 points. Do you know what? Unlike in English Premier League, but if you take a look at the top 5 leagues we have in, let me say the top 3 leagues we have in Europe, Premier League is still having 4 representatives rather in UEFA Champions League. But in Spanish Primera Division, German Bundesliga, the slots, of course, have been increased to 5. That means in Spain, we shall have 8 teams playing in Europe come next season. 5 will be playing in UEFA Champions League. We have 2 in UEFA Europa League and 1 representative in that Europa Conference. Why it's like this? It depends on the number of points you earn every season as far as European competition is concerned. I am talking about UEFA Champions League, UEFA Europa League, and Europa Conference. That means English Premier League teams, of course, everywhere, they will have to improve on their, or else pull up their socks as far as earning points in UEFA Champions League, or as general in European night is concerned. Premier League, of course, being one of the iconic leagues we have in the world, of course, will have to also send 5 representatives. It's also ironical to see that Premier League being given fewer slots, and German Bundesliga, not forgetting about German Bundesliga, not forgetting about Spanish Primera Division having 5 representatives in UEFA Champions League. Leaving that one there, also in Monday Night Football in English Premier League, a game was also played. Nottingham Forest returned back to the 3rd position after a 2-1 win over the team of Spurs. That means the race for that's a top 4 is still on, and also in Europa League and Europa Conference. Now, taking a look at the teams, that of course, taking a look at the teams that of course are now battling. Liverpool, of course, they are having 79 points and they are left with a win to be crowned as the champions. Arsenal comes to the second position with 66 points. Nottingham Forest, of course, comes to third position with 60 points. Newcastle occupies the fourth position with 59 points. Yes, Premier League next season, starting from next season, they will be sending now 5 representatives. That's in UEFA Champions League. Unlike last season, because you see this time at least Arsenal, we have to congratulate them very much, and also the likes of Manchester City, Liverpool also doing very well last season and this season. That means the slot of course has already been increased to 5. Manchester City is at number 5 with 58 points, and the team that comes at number 6 is Chelsea with 57 points. And the likes of Aston Villa might be battling out for Europa League or as Europa Conference, but the race is still on as far as fighting for European night is concerned. And this one brings us to the games that are set to be played today in Spanish Primera Division. Valencia will be staying at Mestalla as they welcome that's Espanyol from Catalonia. Meanwhile, for Real Mallorca, they will have to visit that's Barcelona at Camp Nou. Right now, you look at the points gap between Barcelona and the Real Madrid. The points gap, of course, is 4. That means Barcelona, they are sitting 4 points ahead of Real Madrid. In case they win tonight's game against Real Mallorca, they will go to that's 76 points. But Real Madrid still will be having a game at hand to play in French League 1. Paris Saint-Germain will have to leave Parc des Princes as they travel away to Nantes. Meanwhile, in English Premier League, that's why I continue to say that the battle is still on. And Pep Guardiola did say that he is going to take the game against Aston Villa as a final, because this is actually the biggest encounter that is remaining for Manchester City. And a win for Aston Villa against the team of Manchester City will push them ahead of Manchester City. So we are waiting to see how things will end in that game. And that game will be exactly at 10 p.m. East African time. Manchester City, of course, will be the home team. And quickly looking at the games to be played tomorrow, Bilbao will still sit at San Mamés as they welcome Las Palmas, that's in Spanish Primera Division, as Villarreal will still continue to battle to see that they finish in top 4 as they travel away to Celta Vigo. For Deportivo Alaves, they will have to wake up from the 1-1 tie they had with Sevilla over the weekend as they welcome Real Sociedad. And for Real Madrid, they will have to visit that's Getafe away in a tricky fixer. Then in Italian Serie A, games that were supposed to be played on Monday, of course, we are postponed today because of the passing of Pope Francis, and these games are played today. As I speak right now, we are just 4 minutes away for the kickoff of the games, with Fiorentina traveling to Cagliari as Genoa welcomes Lazio Roma, with Juventus taking a trip away to Parma. Meanwhile, for Torino, they will have to entertain Udinese. Sorry about that. These games will be played tomorrow. Still tomorrow, Arsenal will take on Crystal Palace, and then in Coppa Italia semi-final, Inter Milan, of course, will have a date with that's AC Milan. That's in San Siro derby, as in Milan derby. The first leg of this game ended 1-1, and we are waiting to see how things will end in that game. With that, I should say we close the chapter there till tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Thursday, and I want to promise to you, still I will be in the studios to give you what continues to transpire around the world, both in local news, continental news, international news, and also we will be finalizing everything with that's sports. Have the best of your moments till tomorrow.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
It's time to break free with a